My name's Nick Rasinski. I attended FleetForce truck driving school in Bradenton, Florida. I graduated on August 2nd, and I took my state test on August the 3rd, which was Saturday. I was unemployed since March 4th. I was in the trucking industry, but on the operations management side. And it didn't quite work out when I got transferred up here from Fort Lauderdale, where I was originally born and raised. So we moved up here March of 24. And I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. And my father's been a truck driver my entire life. He's been hauling gasoline out of Fort Lauderdale since 1982. So that really piqued my interest since I was a little kid. And then once, me losing my employment happened, I was like, you know what? I love trucks. I love driving long distance and I love dealing with customers and new people and new places. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to be a driver. And honestly, when I went there, I meant to go and meet with Cade, and I went to the wrong building. I actually went to the classroom and I met Sean. And the second I met Sean, I felt like I just belonged there. I felt at home, instant. For me, I had went months and months of just getting constant declines. And I'm like, you know what? There's always a need for truck drivers. I know trucking, I know trucks, I know hazmat because that's where I came from was gasoline and diesel and jet fuel. So I already knew that. I know there's a large demand for truck drivers, quality truck drivers at that. So I just know that I just got word yesterday, myself and Tony Boyd, we graduated the same class together. We both just got hired on with Pam Transport yesterday. So we leave in 2.5 weeks to go to Arkansas and start our training. So we're actually going to team up together. So that's a big breath of fresh air because at least we know each other. We're confident in each other's driving abilities. And we live very close to each other, about 15 minutes apart. But the plus side to having a commercial driver's license, whether it's an A, B, C, doesn't matter. There is always a demand for drivers. The initial getting started is going to be difficult, but in the long run, once you gain your minimum experience, you've opened Pandora's box for the rest of your life. As an ex-terminal manager, I would get just say 20 applications a week. I might only pick two or three out of those. For me and Tony specifically, he and I have spoke every single day, five, six, seven times a day since we graduated and got our licenses in our hands from the DMV. And we've just worked together. I think I did 54 apps and he did 52 or 53 until we finally got something to stick. So that initial startup is the most difficult part. But once that minimum experience is there, you can go and do anything you want. You can go over the road, regional, local, and that's what our goal is. Gain our bare minimum experience that we need. We've already got something lined up with Hale Transportation to come back local after we get our minimum experience. What I did, and I just used my old sales mindset when I was a terminal manager, I applied knowing I didn't have the experience and I called them immediately. As long as my license stays clean, I have no, major violations on my MVR. I know I'm going to get employed by them. They've already put me in the pot. I'm just on a hold for experience. And I've also already got arrangements with Teresi Transport after I have a year's underneath my belt where I can go haul gasoline, which is my end goal. Well, for number one, very good income coming in. You get what you put in trucking. If you are lazy, you will not make that much money. But if you want to work hard and run as quickly yet efficiently and safely as possible, you will make as much as you want. You just have to have a good company that you're working with. You got to be close with your dispatch. They have to be able to know that they can count on you and you can count on them. And then I look at it this way too. If I ever want to one day move to North Carolina, I can take my CDL and my experience and I can go get employment before I even move. So there's a lot of pros to that. And the fact that I can pretty much, once I have all of my experience, at a minimum of a year, I can go haul any kind of trailer that I want, any kind of equipment I want. I can do heavy haul, oversized, I can do hazmat, whatever I want. And that's the beauty of it is you're not restricted to just one thing. As long as you have all of your endorsements, you can literally do anything you put your mind to. Like mine is fuel. That's my end goal. But if I like doing something else better, I'll stick with it. It's whatever's best for you and your family. First off, just to be transparent, I was going to go to Roadmaster and I had brought my wife with me and they wouldn't let her in the interview room. They offered me a job before I even had a CDL permit. And they're like, oh, yeah, you're going to go work for Werner. I'm like, what? How is that possible? You don't even know if I can drive. So that was a really uneasy feeling. And I had saw you guys actually, I got a Suncoast scholarship to attend FleetForce, which was the school I wanted to attend to begin with. I actually knew about you guys from Fort Lauderdale because you trained a lot of the drivers that I eventually did inherit 2 years later once I had the experience. So I already knew it was a very well-known, sought-after school. And then when I got the phone call from Suncoast that I got the scholarship, I'm like, oh, this is fantastic. I can go with the school I want. Smaller class sizes, which was for me, that's a big thing. I need small classes to be able to hear, see, touch, and listen. It was a little bit too big. We had six at one point, and then it dropped down to five, but there should be no more than four. My personal opinion. My whole class will agree with that. But we understand things happen sometimes. You don't want to say no. You want to give everyone that life-changing license. So, but with that being said, I finally got to attend a school that I wanted to go to. And then once I met Sean, that was like, that sealed the deal for me. I knew that's where I wanted to go. Well, I'll use my father in this instance just because he worked for oil companies like Texaco and Shell, so he was taught the right way the first time. But something that I did with Rick that I think might have shocked him a little bit in the beginning was my vocalization. I like to paint the picture. That was one thing that I always loved about some of my trainers and my higher up drivers was that they talked about everything that they were doing before they even did it. So whether I was watching on the motive camera for a triggered event or they were training somebody and I was doing an observation, that trainee understood the entire 360-degree view of the how and why we're doing it this way. So I tried to apply that same thing with myself. It was really hard for me in the beginning because I'm like, I know what I'm doing. No, no, I don't. There's always room for improvement. And then once I got with Teddy and Rick and Sean, and they started getting into the fine detail and they explained, okay, this is why I'm telling you to stop here, do this. Now watch and do it. And that's what made it for me. It was not just this, you have to do it this way. This is why I'm asking you to do it this way. And that was the biggest thing for me. I mean, if it's me, if I was on the fence, I would say, listen, you have to really sit down and think about what you're doing. Do the proper research. Something I did before I even got the scholarship to Fleet Force is I went on your YouTube channel. I watched Lamar's pre-trip video. I watched a bunch of other of the instructors' videos, and I watched a lot of student videos like we're doing right now. And that really helped me gain that last little bit of confidence I needed to say, okay, I can do this. And I knew I could do it. I was just nervous to make that big of a life-changing change on my end. But I have to say that entire journey from start to finish was well worth it. I wasn't disappointed in any way, shape, or form. I was happy every day. The instructors were absolutely personable as could be. They took that time with you. If you were struggling, they gave you one-on-one. And that's crucial. I I watched people who were struggling and within a couple of days, with that extra 30 minutes of one-on-one, that changed everything for them. And that's where I think Fleet Force separates themselves from other schools is that they take that time. They don't want to see you fail. They will work with you and help you any which way possible to make sure that you're successful. And if you don't know something, ask. You will never be looked down on for asking a silly question. The silly question is just the one that's never asked. Fleet Force strong, baby.